We want to have an approach which is a little bit different than the one that I'm listening around. We would like to be kind of the myth busters, but in a good way. Because I hear very many things around about circular economy, many definitions, many interpretations, many discussions. I can tell you the past year and a half, there were more than 27 conferences around the world about different topics of circular economy. I have been in all of them. So I've listened to all these kind of discussions. And also, I've been, the regulation that came up in 2015 on the circular economy was closing the loop. I was part of this team that we drafted it. But that doesn't give us any inside knowledge because, and I would agree with Khalid, because the driving force will be the market. But before going there, just, I always think about what is circular economy. Even today, by the way, if you came today to listen to any wisdom, I have to disappoint you. It's not going to happen. We just want to discuss about all these kind of things and go through the way we look at the circular economy, go through the way our role, because do not forget, here is a business school, okay? And actually I have to tell you something, because in the discussions we have with a lot of people, they say, the engineers will play a vital role. These people will play the vital role. That category will play a vital role. If you want, my perspective is that every single discipline will play its role, but the glue will always be the business, especially to topics like circular economy, which is not an exact science. So one approach, which is described by people, and it's a very short video. How does it play? I don't know. Okay, let me just hit it first. Sorry? Sorry. Please, yes. Go ahead. So this is a video of how some good public ventures are looking at the circular economy. And then I will show you another one on how the institutional aspect is being looking at the circular economy.
By 2025, the World Bank estimates that humans will produce nearly 5 trillion pounds of trash every year in urban areas alone. That's roughly 1/36 of the entire biomass of the Earth, and an unbelievable portion of it will likely end up in landfills, floating in a giant garbage patch in the ocean, or just littering the streets. But in the past few decades, countries and NGOs around the world have set out to prevent this bleak, trashy future by essentially inventing a new economic principle to eliminate trash altogether. So, could we really create a zero-waste future? Well, in an earlier video, we touched on Sweden buying neighboring countries' trash. Some nations, like Norway, find it cheaper to ship their refuse to Sweden instead of paying a landfill tax back home. In turn, Sweden uses that trash in special factories that turn it into electricity, thereby reusing it for their energy needs. So that's one way to make or save money using the more than $400 billion global waste market. But that mostly just covers burning or destroying trash to use for energy. And in most cases of trash shipping, it still is dumped in a landfill. One study in the United States showed that 3/4 of trash is recyclable, and that's money that's literally being thrown away. The real financial opportunity is in a form of recycling called a circular economy. This economic principle came about in a 1990 paper by British environmental economists, who realized that the current economy provides no real incentive to recycle, and nearly all products are built to eventually be thrown away. A circular economy doesn't just encourage environmental conservation, it's a forward-thinking plan to engineer and design products to produce the least amount of trash possible. For example, modern smartphones are very expensive and full of rare minerals, high-tech electronics, and fairly durable parts. But most phones are simply thrown away, when instead, a circular economy would provide a market where those phones are easily disassembled, working parts are swapped out, and instead of manufacturing brand new units, new phone models could incorporate old phones in the manufacturing process. The viability of the system can already be seen in China, where entire towns base their economies on sorting through electronic waste to save reusable parts. In 2015, the European Union adopted a new circular economy package designed to encourage the system by funding implementation efforts as well as setting up regulations on waste that incentivize recycling programs. The idea is to close the loop from the end of a product's life cycle to the creation of a new product. In doing so, the EU hopes to maximize the amount of energy that's extractable from raw materials and contribute to their sustainability goals by 2020. With an initial investment of €5.5 billion for waste management alone, the project is a huge step towards a trash-free Europe. But it isn't just governments working to shore up their waste. Over the last 10 years, commodities have effectively tripled in cost, pushing companies to look into implementing circular economies within their own production lines as a financial measure. The French motor vehicle company, Renault, is one of the leading proponents of a circular economy, with some cars made to be 90% recyclable, and with most cars being made from 30% recycled parts. Renault estimates that a circular economy, just in European manufacturing alone, could be worth as much as $630 billion. As trash continues to flood every corner of the world, it's only a matter of time before it starts affecting our day-to-day lives, with some countries like China and India already feeling the ill effects. A circular economy provides not only the financial incentive to recycle, but also tackles one of the most important environmental issues of the modern era. The Japanese town of Kamikatsu is a model of reducing waste, as it composts, reuses, or recycles up to 80% of its trash. Learn more about this town that's leading the way towards a zero-waste world in this video.
In this small Japanese town, residents take the concept of recycling very seriously.
アルミ缶、スチール缶、スプレー缶、ペットボトルのキャップ。
They separate their trash into a whopping 34 categories.
Thanks for watching Seeker Daily. Don't forget to like and subscribe for new videos every day. By 2020,
there's this video, actually, which is actually is a very good video. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder why, because if you see the first references, and even if you go into the academic literature, the references of circular economy go way back in the 19th. But we're talking about circular economy now, 20 years later. Anyone has an explanation about this? Any views on that? Second observation. They're talking about circular economy, and they keep saying the same things. Recycling, waste management, recycling, waste management, recycling, waste management, recycling, waste management. So, is recycling, waste management all about circular economy? I have fundamental disagreements on that principle. Fundamental disagreements. And actually, I think this is although what they said in the video is 100% accurate, and indeed there are efforts, I haven't seen, even in this Chinatown, the way they're doing it, I haven't seen any principles behind that other than using what the EU has been investing, and not only the EU, global, in use. And they were investing the past 10, 15 years on recycling and waste management. The investment that you would see in the last 20 years from the EU was not on circular economy. It was recycling and waste management. Why do we talk about the waste package and not the redesign package? Because it's an easy win. You can put it forward. So just look another one. I promise usually I use a lot of videos, but this time I will just 3. So this is the second one on the EU approach, how they present it.
In nature, everything is upcycled. Plants absorb light. Leaves grow. Soil is enriched. seeds sprout, ready for the cycle to start again. There is no waste. Everything is reused. In fact, waste as we know it comes from just one species, us. But maybe not for long. The circular economy ends our reliance on the rubbish heap and turns waste into a resource. Sustainability is designed into products, remaining valuable until the end, when they can be introduced back into the production cycle. One industry's waste becomes another's raw material. The EU is already on its way to the circular economy through eco-design, waste prevention, and the reuse and recycling of products. Businesses across Europe are making our society and environment more resilient. In the coming years, they could go on to save billions of euros, create jobs, and greatly reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
En ce moment, on travaille pour une entreprise qui est spécialisée dans le traitement du courrier. Ils ont un flux aller qui est rempli puisqu'ils amènent le courrier dans les entreprises, mais un flux retour qui est vide puisqu'ils ont livré le courrier. Et donc là, on est en train de travailler avec eux sur la mise en place d'une nouvelle activité qui est récupérer des déchets de papier, des déchets de carton, des déchets de cartouches d'imprimante, de façon à ce qu'ils reviennent à plein. C'est un nouveau meuble qu'on a créé qui permet, dans chacun des cartons, récupérer des gisements qui auparavant n'étaient pas bien triés dans ces entreprises et qu'on va présenter à notre client demain et tester dans les prochaines semaines. Notre positionnement est assez original, mais étant donné les difficultés que rencontrent de plus en plus d'entreprises, l'économie circulaire représente une nouvelle opportunité pour elles. Et donc elles ont un vrai besoin d'accompagnement et d'action. Et c'est pour ça qu'on fait à la fois le conseil, mais surtout le design. Et donc c'est là où c'est vraiment intéressant, c'est que non seulement on leur ouvre l'esprit, mais on passe tout de suite à l'action pour la mise en place. Aujourd'hui, n'importe quelle entreprise, collectivité a besoin de nouvelles sources de revenus et l'objectif de l'économie circulaire, c'est d'en recréer, mais de recréer tout en conciliant la société et la nature finalement.
Owning a good makes sense if that good increases in value. So owning a house makes sense. Owning any disposable good doesn't make sense, so therefore you should rent it. Renting a washing machine makes sense for the user, because basically then you don't have the problems of repairs and maintenance.
I saw new technology coming up, Internet of Things technology. So I thought there should be a way to use appliances as a service and to use the materials again to make new appliances, so not creating any waste. We start with washing machines and tumble dryers. What we say is you don't own it, you just use it. We connect the appliance to the internet, and we do that with a simple plug measuring the energy use. And that way you can also monitor the appliance and give the user feedback on how to use it more efficiently. Right now Miele delivers the appliances. They do the service on the washing machines and the dryers, and they support bundles with their knowledge of the market and the knowledge of laundry to further build the service. What is actually innovative and really new to this economic model is the way that different people and different parties, institutes collaborate to deliver a whole different experience to the consumer with much less impact on the future of our planet.
The new Commission has picked up the challenge again. That would really be an opening for a new economy that would be resource efficient, it would be economically profitable. So basically all the things that we want for Europe.
could have easily been a Christmas commercial. Now, listening to that, again, I was getting one message. I don't know if you were getting a different. A business model, a business model, a business model, a business model. The only word that was mentioned as a technology at some point was IoT, which is not a technology that was developed in the context of the circular economy. It didn't came to give solutions to the circular economy. Actually, it's being used by circular economy to deliver outcomes. So again, even if you're looking at the message of the ones promoting this new venture, it doesn't really relate to a specific discipline. And actually, this will be one of the main points and keys of also my presentation, but what I want to illustrate with the speakers that we have here today. That circular economy is not about a specific disciplines or a specific area or a specific domain. And actually, I'm really pleased that we are in the context of the business school, because it's all about the business models that relate all the different areas. So, I mean, as I said, looking around, I can see Life Circular, Circular Design Guide, Circular Economy, Circular Culture, Circular Change, Circular Innovation, Circular Service, Hong Kong Post, Circular Procurement, Circular Food, Circular Change, Circular Cities, Circular Research Management, and obviously Circular Fibers Initiative, whatever that is. So evidently, people, as I am, I'm circularly confused. But I mean, okay, but let's stay a little bit focused. Let's see some applications and let's try to get some conclusions together, because actually, if you disagree with the approach that we're having, I would be really, really open to hear the disagreements, because the point what we're trying to do here is, and this is what we will inject in the studies that we're having here, is not to lead or mislead, pick your word, students into a direction, or professionals, because most of our people here is professionals, into directions that may or may not help them. For example, and I will tell you where the source of these projects are. From waste to rich water, an innovative technology for combining treatment and reuse in agriculture. This is a Horizon 2020 funded project in order to give an innovative technology for waste water reuse in agriculture. Okay, this is entitled Circular Economy Best Practice by the EU, and it's in the front page of the EU funded projects. Similar here. This is the name of the project. Do you see a building or a bank of recyclable materials? Again, it's classified as a best practice in circular economy under the Circular Economy Stakeholders Platform of the EU. Circular is the new black. A research program towards a sustainable fashion industry. Circular business model, recognizing the value of reconditioned assets for a better financing solution. Again, this is one of the projects that are being classified as a best practice in circular economy from the legislator. Light as a service. Okay, I knew a lot of things, like especially in the domain of security and information society, everything was as a service at some point, but now we see light as a service. We've seen before this in EU ad with the washing machines. So what was that? Washing machines as a service? Could be. All these are classified cooling servers, cleaning bodies, recycled heat from server rooms, provide hot water in sports hall showers. Is there any new technology in this? Can you see any new technology? I just see existing ones, and someone had a great idea to put them together. It gave the right results, but I don't see the technology element. I don't see something new other than the business model. So, I mean, as I said, we started looking at the term circular economy coming up more and more after 2014. So I was been working for the EU since 2002, so I kind of see when things need to be boosted. And I experienced the recycling era, and I'm experiencing now the circular economy era. So in 2013, the budget I provided all over the place about circular economy, as you can see in the map, was 0. Now, in 2014, the first budgets were allocated, and look at where they have, look at where they have been. Central Europe, 206 projects. Then we have more in Sweden part, but we have other projects as well. Huh? That's possible in the EU. We can fund projects not only in the EU but abroad. But that means that the idea of circular economy or the ideas we are having in Europe are proliferated abroad. And then you sit one day and you say, oh, I'm reading about circular economy in Africa. Oh, they are doing the same. But maybe we have been the sparkle of that. So it's not that it's a well-proliferated idea. But then I was looking also a little bit on what happened in 2015. More projects being funded in the domain of circular economy. More areas, even the United States, have been added in the map. So, does this have any relationship whatsoever between the period the EU started funding these projects and the term coming up? And being more sexy and sexy and sexy and everybody's talking about circular economy? Well, we can look at 2016 as well. Same pattern. More projects, a little bit more centralized to Europe. So then how many were these beneficiaries? Well, we have 933 beneficiaries, 66 projects, 337 million euros, but then also it's important to see the countries, I guess. So which country do you think has received this, the most funding for circular economy so far? Any country, just tell me.
UK, France, Poland, Germany, Sweden.
Actually, it's Spain. Spain is number 1, Italy number 2, and so on and so forth. France actually is the 5th. But you see that nobody said Spain. I wouldn't have said Spain either, so don't worry. So the point is that you see that, but if you look around now, if you go after this day to day, go a little bit around, Google it around, and look at ventures and new companies that are coming up in the domain of circular economy, you will be able to relate with this slide. And that's very important, and I will tell you why. I will take the comment of Khalid, which was reflected by Alon as well. There is one important word in the circular economy, in the text of the circular economy, in the legislation of circular economy that nobody pays attention, is the word transition. And every transition has a cost. So suddenly, well, or not, the EU decided to go into the matter in 2015 and prepare all this funding, and that was the period that we were started talking about it. Why? Because all of a sudden these subsidies, this funding is assuming the cost for the industry. And now the industry is engaged because there's someone that will be doing that work. The work that we will be doing in the few projects that we have now, in the circular economy, in the Internet of Things, the ideal cities, but other projects as well that we have other partners here like the semiotics and the big data as a service, they are actually contributing to the new body of knowledge and the new practices that will come up. And I will introduce a little bit the partners afterward because this is a joint venture between academia, industry, business model providers, and there's no other way that this can work other than this. Because you have to create the space. And we have to create the narratives So not everybody will think that it's waste management, recycling only, and so on and so forth. No. I'm going a little bit to March. In March, we had 170 proposals on circular economy, which were targeting circular economy. Now, you would say, and you would be right, what about raw materials? It's a part of circular economy. But you see, it's not classified into the circular economy. What about nature-based solutions or climate services? So you see that this trend continues. Now, what about September 2017? We had 37 proposals on circular economy, 10 of them were funded, but still you see nature-based solutions and raw materials continue to gain traction. However, one important element here is that less and less proposals are going towards this direction and more proposals are going towards this direction. Why? Because this new concept is integrative. That means it gets a lot of things together under one umbrella. And this is, again, the business element that I am emphasizing and we will be emphasizing throughout this session. And actually, that will be the core value of the knowledge that we want to bring here. We want to make people that they are in the business community or they are in their own discipline to start thinking about these kind of things. But yeah, enough about the past. What about the future? Does anyone knows how much the EU will invest in the next 2 years for only circular economy? Any figure? We've seen there are 300 million for the past 2 years. So 2018, 2020, the budget is 1 billion euros for 2 years. You understand what this 1 billion will do to the market. So if now we are just a few of us talking about circular economy, what's going to happen in 2 years? We are already seeing, I mean, look at the impact on the education. I've seen BAs, MAs, DBAs, PhDs, all over the place, circular economy. 5 years ago, you couldn't have found anything. So let's not talk about the industry only. Let's talk about the education part as well. So this is the cycle which is having a cascading effect on every single thing. Now, this text, between 18 and 20, the Commission will mobilize 2.7 billion from Horizon to support high-risk gain innovation to create the markets of the future. Like when we didn't have the recycling community or the recycling market and it was created because of a number of reasons, now we are going to the new markets of the future. And the new market of the futures is not only about circular economy, but it's about the ability to put diverse things that already existed under the same umbrella and get a higher value from this venture. The European Commission, and I'm going back to them again and again, because in most of the meetings that I've been, everybody is talking about, they're focusing on some specific things. So if I start talking about waste management and resource management and water management, most probably you will get nothing out of this. I think the most important thing is to put this knowledge into your mind and reflection and see how this is coming through, because I really am really disappointed when I talk to some people that are coming from specific backgrounds that they say, you know, it's all about energy management, it's all about energy efficiency, it's all about recycling, it's all about engineering, it's all about this. It's the biggest nonsense that I ever heard. because it's all about everything getting together. There's no prima donna in this. But it's evident that the waste management, again, and the recycling goes ahead because there's been a considerable investment the past 15 years. So this text came out a couple of weeks ago announcing the priorities of the European Commission. A low-carbon, climate-resilient future. You could say that this should be circular economy as well. Why isn't circular economy? I don't know. Then, for the first time we see circular economy is the first time we see it as a core element of their new funding priorities. And actually I underline these two words, fewer topics, bigger budgets. That means they really want to make an impact. That means they really want to make the difference. That means they really want to create the market. So I expect that with the infusion of this 1 billion, along with the previous funds that have been infused in the market, we will soon see a transformation of this. And to be very honest with you, just to give you, actually, that would have been the most useful slide and I didn't do it. To give you an idea is that now, the past 2 years, you have been infusing money through this process to the industry. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we will see the impact tomorrow morning. This money will be allocated in 2018 and 19, okay? That means the work will start then. So the real results, the real impact, we will start looking at it as of 2013 and onwards, 2023 and onwards. Because it's there when the business models will come up, the success and the failures out of this will come. So if you are a little bit visionary about your business or about yourself, this is the time frame that you should be looking at, because this is just the period at which the money will be allocated. So have that in mind, because I think that is very important. Now, the other, actually I should have highlighted that as well, digitizing and transforming European industry and services, 1.7 billion. Actually, this is the second core element that we are using in our work. And this element comes out also with the projects that the proposals that we submitted, circular economy and Internet of Things, at least one, because we really believe that on a, if I can say, on a data-driven economy, we really believe that I mean, how many of you have seen these videos in YouTube or anywhere else that they use the 3D printing, they download the sketch for something and then a mug and they print it in their homes. All these kind of things are, the 3D printing is kind of a new technology, if I can classify it like that, but they use all these kind of new data sources to create all these new areas. So that's something very important for us as well, because again, everybody is talking about recycling, circular economy, and waste management, and they should, because it's necessary. But we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. It's part of, it's in our radar, we are looking at it, but you don't need another 2,000 players in that. And actually, again, we are not going to be leveraged on a specific discipline. What we want to leverage is on the modeling. We want to help the people to understand this critical aspect. So, reflecting from the discussions in June, I just want to share a few more things. What is our vision? In June, I said our vision is one word: being an enabler. But today, I added an asterisk. And the asterisk is actually, has been a very hard reflection for me the past 2 years, which was unleash your imagination and leverage on your knowledge and creativity, because that's what we need to have the new business models. If you are an engineer and you have your knowledge, you don't need any more knowledge. You just need to look around and see how this knowledge could be used in other applications, or how could be combined with others. Of course, what we are saying is that it's not that there's no need for new technologies or to go deeper in some areas and so on and so forth. I am just a little bit provocative in what I'm saying, but what is important here and what we see, it's a very crucial element, is the business models. And that's why I showed you the slides at the beginning, because most of the things that I see around is not new technologies. Is nothing different, at least to my mind. Maybe the other speakers will differ in a while. But I see more and more, at least at this point, business models. What I could make a provision is that to say, after all this investment in the next 5-6 years, maybe we will see some new things or new technologies that will be provoked by the merging of all these disciplines. But we will have to see. But for the moment, I am more convinced that the enabler that we are looking, it's on the minds of the people that they already have their knowledge, and to enable them to think a little bit wider, a little bit more inclusive, and to combine things. So I said the key word. The key word is transition. Why? And this is actually coming from the text of the legislator. Why did the legislator is not talking about anything else and they're talking about the transition? Because that's what it is about. This is what we're talking about so much time. It's a transition from linear, recycling, and now circular. And it's a transition, it's a mind shift, it's a cultural shift. It will be a technological shift, but it's a transition. So in our vision, what they wanted to do and what we want to do is to be an enabler for our constituents, the students, the alumni, the university, the ecosystem, the economy, and the society. Now, we are a relatively young research center, so I'm really happy that we have achieved some impact on these areas. That means that we already brought the circular economy into the university. We already having people engaged and students in that. We already have achieved, let's say, the recognition of getting our proposals through and getting funding for it. We already benefiting our students, alumni, or other people. As I said in the afternoon, we will talk about some scholarships on the doctorate program for people that they would be interested to pursue that. So, and of course, I can tell you for sure that the business school is getting on the map of real players. Actually, I had one question. A friend of mine, actually, when they saw Khalid on the program, he said, "You invited Cambridge Circular Economy Center into your conference? Are you crazy?" And I said, "Why do you say that?" "Because he's your competitor." And I said, "Not really." And people look at this in a very diverse way. But because the way we're blending disciplines, we are blending people. This is a people's venture. With all these people you will see here also today, Khalid and others, we are working for many years together. Down there we are working together since, 12 years. We started working in information security, and then we evolved into other disciplines. So it's not about competition any longer. It used to be about competition. It's more about synergies. And what I really appreciate about Khalid's effort is that he did came last night at 9:30 or something like that to give his 15 minutes presence, and then now he's going back because at 1 he has a class in Cambridge. So this is the effort of people to be together and do joint ventures. This is something that you don't find very often. So I think that also gives the synergies we want here for our people, for our stakeholders, for our alumni, and it contributes into this enabling effort. This I already said. We want to contribute to the body of knowledge, but again, we are not looking primarily on the science bit. Actually, Ioannis will talk more about that. By the way, Ioannis has been recently appointed as the Deputy Director of the Circular Economy Research Center, and thank you for accepting that, Ioannis. We want to debate ideas and views, and actually, The last time we had this in June, I had a few emails and a few debates with people all over the place. And actually, we started some nice new ventures. We want to monitor the technological developments. As I said, don't take my words wrong. We do believe on the technologies. We do believe on the technological development and the use of them, but we are not, dogmatic that it's only about technology or it's not only about this or only about that. And of course, we want to monitor policy developments and alert our constituents for imminent changes. We post in the website of the school every time there is something new that's coming, like funding opportunities or traineeships or things like that, and fundamental changes in the landscape. So this is what we are trying to do by keeping our people informed about that. By monitoring, as I said, and sharing best practices and innovative business models, and actually a little bit of innovation, it will be shared by Dan in a while. But how do we share best practices is by, today we had Khalid from Cambridge, we have Vasilis from Bournemouth, we are here, also at the academic level, there is a lot of collaboration. Ioannis represents one big research center in Greece as well, which is very prominent in research. So what we're trying to do is to bring that all in here. By becoming a hub for a cutting-edge research in the domain, actually, this is from my previous slide. That's why I said I want to reflect on that, because we are doing that. We are already there. We are doing it. We are contributing to that. We want to establish a brokerage platform of public and private establishments in enabling them to participate into funded proposals. We are doing research extensively, aggressively. And in this research, and I will present also one of our newest partners in a while, we want to get people, entities that were interested to participate with us. Because we are not an exclusive club, we are an inclusive club. Meaning that people that they want to be engaged, either as individuals or they have an interesting story or an interesting company in any of the domains that we have looked, and they would like us to consider them in future ventures. The only thing you have to do is to just get into contact with us. And that we want to do it because that it will help also the individuals, but also the people to progressively transform themselves into this new mental model that is required by the developments. So as I said, actions taken already. We established the Circular Economy Research Center. We developed a specific curriculum for the executive education and courses. Actually, that's a little bit of a lie. I'm still working on it. Organized a dedicated open day on circular economy. Actually, this is the second one. And again, thank you for being today. And we wanted to become a coordinator for a project already, although we were young at the establishment in here. But actually what we did is one of the projects that we submitted, we were the coordinators of the proposal, and the proposal is a framework for pairing circular economy and the Internet of Things. That means what you heard before is for us taking a technology and looking at it and their applications, because we have use cases, and try to get something that could be become a model, and also this model could be transformed and be infused in practices in the market. So, and actually we will be using that knowledge as well in order to generate new body of knowledge for our own students. So you can imagine that having the research in parallel with having people on board, this is something that it will give the people cutting edge knowledge on new things that will be there. And believe me, when we reflect a lot. Now, our partners in the proposal, we have, of course, us, University of Cambridge, Forth, Deloitte, Bluesoft, and CableNet. Okay, you know this, you know this. I don't know if you know this. If you don't, you should look it up. It's a great research center, very, I would say, very unique, very powerful, with a lot of success in the EU project. Jan is there, and he's been involved in zillion projects. I guess you know Deloitte? If not, if yes, please pretend you know it, because Dan is here. And then, okay, I would be surprised if someone knows these two companies. Anyone? You know them? Ah, Bluesoft, okay. Yeah, but you don't count. Okay, now these two companies, we know them quite well, and we know their operations. And actually, when we were having the discussion about the CIOT, we said, okay, you have prominent academic institutions. We have Deloitte, who is very strong in the business side, but we need some real industry people, some real experts in the hands-on. So Cable is a telecoms operator in Cyprus, and Bluesoft is in Poland. And I'll show you a little bit a video that you will understand why we wanted to go with them.
Technology is great. You really don't have to know how it works to enjoy the benefits that it brings. But how can you make it efficient? That's what Bluesoft is all about. Bringing the best specialists together, creating problem-solving think tanks in the field of IT. Based in the heart of Europe, networking worldwide, we are always close to our clients. With over 200 specialists, a network of our top-class specialists provides innovative solutions. The standards of tomorrow available today. We give you solutions perfectly tailored to your needs. This is a process that starts with a handshake. After making sure what needs to be done, the experts take over. With our ongoing support, you can easily make smart, cost-saving decisions. For you, for your business, Bluesoft, efficient solutions.
Actually, Darek, I have a recommendation. These efficient solutions should be changed to circular solutions. Now, we wanted someone that would help us. And actually, Bluesoft, just to give you a magnitude, has 500 employees, 500 experts in the domain of the data integration and all these things that we want to experiment through this venture and to create the real knowledge, because we don't want to leave it at the academic level. You need to go down and work on it really, really, let's say, hands-on. So, and that's why I'm really happy here to have the Bluesoft guys here, because we will, in the panel in the afternoon, we will discuss a little bit more details of this. But it's not only who is partners of this project, it's also who is endorsing the project. So we had an endorsement by Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Does anyone know Ellen MacArthur Foundation? What a surprise. Philips, Bearing Point, Integral Vision, SAS, and the Ministry of Digital Affairs of the Republic of Poland. So it's not just the ones that are participating, but the ones that they know about this and they wanted to support it. And believe me, when we had the discussion with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, because you understand that they're getting lots of this kind of discussions with a lot of partners, they're very selective. But when we told them, because they had the reports called digital assets, when we told them where we want to take this further, they were really keen to support it and even be involved in the later stage in the implementation. So you understand that our goals, which was before to create a community to enable the business school, to enable the students, to enable the constituents, to enable the candidates, this is what we're talking about. Bringing all the prominent actors into the room and into the practice.